Welcome back to Granbury Media. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you're watching us right now, you have your internet back. That's a good thing. We were out for a while today. Oh my goodness, is quite a challenge. But if you're watching us right now on the City of Granbury's Facebook or YouTube pages, that means that you've got your internet back. So we're going to have a couple of slides coming up here. We got a couple of numbers for the T11 Democratic race for governor. I think we're going to go ahead and try to go to those here in just a second. Okay, so we do have some early voting numbers for the Democratic Party for governor. Beto O'Rourke coming in at just under 2,500 votes, 92% of that vote, almost 93%, followed by Michael Cooper. If you notice, folks, we have 4 candidates up there listed on the slides. If some of these races do have more than 4, we're just going to list the top 4 to try to keep it simple for our viewers to see tonight. So that's the early voting numbers we have in so far for the Democratic governor candidates. And we'll move on over to lieutenant governor candidates for the Democratic Party. The early voting numbers that we have in, and of course, by looking at these numbers, you can tell it's a very small percentage of the votes in. But right now, Mike Collier is at 41.13%, followed by Michelle Beckley at 20. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I apologize. Followed by Carla Braley at 33.3%. And then down in third right now is Michelle Beckley at just over 25%. And again, if looking at these numbers, very small numbers showing reporting, so we'll have more numbers coming up for us later. I think we are going to go ahead and are we going to go ahead and toss over to David Euchre right now, or are we waiting at... Nope. He will be in at the 8 o'clock hour, and hopefully by then we'll have our local election coverage coming in. Just want to update everybody. I jumped in line to vote today at about 4:40, and it took just a little over an hour up at the Baptist Church on 51. So there was still a strong turnout today on Election Day, so that was great to see. In fact, I even passed by Annex on the way, and that line was around the whole building. So good, strong turnout even on Election Day, but we will wait for those early voting numbers to come in for Hood County, because as we say, how early voting goes in Hood County, generally that's how it's going to grow. So we will see you live back here at 8 p.m. on the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages. And if the City Council meeting gets over, we'll see you live on the city's public television channel also. See you soon. Thank you.
3, 2.
Good evening and welcome back to Granbury Media. We do have some more election results coming in here for the Hood County primary elections. Thank you for joining us on the City of Granbury's Facebook page and YouTube page. I think we're going to go ahead and get those election results up. I want to say a big volunteers, so thank you for all the number updates tonight. So we'll go ahead and move on over to the Hood County Republican Party. For county judge, these are the early voting numbers that we have in so far. It looks like Ron Massengill is in the lead right now at 48%, followed by Mark Shackelford at 25%, rounded out with Kelly Van Buren at 15% and Mark Jackson at 11%. For the Hood County Republican Party's County Commissioner Precinct 2, early voting numbers that are in so far, Nanette Samuelson is in the lead with 53%, followed by Ronald Cotton, the incumbent, at 46%. For County Commissioner Precinct 4 with the Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers so far have Dave Eagle, the incumbent, in at 62%, followed by Zach Maxwell coming in at 38% with just a small amount of early voting numbers in so far. For the Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 for the Hood County Republican Party, we have Jeff Kelly coming in the lead at 56%, followed by Martin Castillo at 44%. And for Justice of the Peace Precinct 3 for the Hood County Republican Party, numbers coming in with Stephen Barnett, this is close so far, 37%, Wayne Baker Jr. right behind him at 36%, and Michelle London at 25%. And for the county clerk, Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers in to date right now, the incumbent Katie Lang is coming in at 60% of the early voting votes. Michelle Carew is following it with 20%. Aaron Ellis is coming in at 13%, and Becky Swindle at 6%. For county chairman for the Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers to date right now, Steve Biggers is coming in the lead at 55%, followed with David Fisher at 45%. And for the district judge, 355th Judicial District, the Hood County Republican Party candidates, Vincent Messina is in the lead at 61%, followed out by Brian Bufkin at 39%. And for Judge County Court at Law, Hood County Republican Party, Shelley Fowler O'Toole is in the lead right now, 58%, followed by Richard Haddix at 42%. And that's just a reminder, folks, that, those are just the early voting numbers that we have so far. Nowhere near the total Hood County early voting numbers, but we wanted to give you the updates as soon as we have them. And I think we're going to move on to some state races. Yes, we are. For the Republican Party, early voting numbers that we have in right now for governor, Governor Greg Abbott is coming in at 71%, followed by Alan B. West, who's coming in at 11%. Don Huffines in third place at 9%, and Chad Prather rounding out at 4%. Okay, for governor, early voting numbers in so far for the Hood County Republican Party. Greg Abbott, 65%, followed by Alan B. West coming in at 15%, and right behind him is Don Huffines at 12%, followed by Chad Prather at 3%. For the Republican Party Lieutenant Governor candidates, early voting numbers to date, Dan Patrick is at 78%. In second place, much further behind, Trace Bradford at 6%, tied with Daniel Miller at 6%, and then Zach Vance coming in at 5%. For the Hood County Republican Party Lieutenant Governor, well, I think we just, nope.
You were on state, this is
That was state numbers. This is Hood. Thanks for the correction, my friends. So we're looking at the Hood County numbers now for Lieutenant Governor for the Hood County Republican Party. Dan Patrick coming in at 77%, much like the state numbers. Trace Bradford at 9%, and then rounded out with Daniel Miller and Aaron Sorrells at 5% each. So for the Texas Republican Party Attorney General early voting numbers, Ken Paxton is leading at 43%. George P. Bush is coming in at 23%. And not far behind him is Eva Guzman at 20%. And Louis Gohmert at 15%. So from the Hood County Republican Party Attorney General numbers, Ken Paxton coming in with just over 1,900 votes for 41%. George P. Bush, 24%. Eva Guzman, 20%. And Louis Gohmert at 15%, mimicking much what we're seeing in the state numbers. And for the Texas Democratic Party governor, early voting numbers in right now, Beto O'Rourke is coming in at 92.9%, followed by Michael Cooper at just under 3%. For the Democratic Party lieutenant governor, early voting numbers in right now, Mike Collier is at 41%, Michelle Beckley at 25%, and I'm sorry, Carla Braley is at 33%, coming in just right under Mike Collier, and in third place so far is Michelle Beckley at 25%. And that is our last slide with the update for numbers. We'll be coming back to you at, we'll be coming back at 8:30. Oh, nope, we're gonna go through the unopposed. We've got those slides coming in right now. And this will probably be the last time that we might see the unopposed, because as we come back for these updates, we're going to bring you with the live numbers as promptly as possible. So unopposed, running with the Hood County Democratic Party, County Commissioner, Precinct 4 is Grant Wood. Unopposed with the Hood County Republican Party District Clerk is Tona Trumbull Hitt. Running unopposed with the Hood County Democratic Party for County Clerk is Harold Granick. Running unopposed for County Treasurer with the Hood County Republican Party is Leanne McCoy. And running unopposed for County Chairman for the Hood County Democratic Party is Adrian Martin. And of course, running unopposed Congressman for U.S. District 25 with the Republican Party is Roger Williams. Our state senator running unopposed for Texas District 22 with the Republican Party is Brian Birdwell. And for state representative from the Texas District 59 Republican Party running unopposed is Shelby Slauson. For Justice Place 3, Texas Supreme Court Republican Party, running unopposed is Deborah Lehman. And for Justice Place 5, Texas Supreme Court Republican Party, running unopposed is Rebecca Huddle. For Justice Place 2, Texas Court Criminal Appeals, with the Republican Party, running unopposed is Mary Lou Keel. For Justice Place 5 with the Texas Court Criminal Appeals Democratic Party, running unopposed is Dana Huffman. And for Justice Place 6, Texas Court Criminal Appeals with the Republican Party, running unopposed is Jesse F. McClure III. And for Justice Place 3, Texas Second Court of Appeals Republican Party, running unopposed is Elizabeth Kerr. For Railroad Commissioner, Texas Democratic Party, Luke Warford is running unopposed. And Justice Place 3 with the Texas Supreme Court, running unopposed from the Democratic Party is Aaron Noel. Justice Place 5 with the Texas Supreme Court, running unopposed from the Democratic Party is Amanda Rychek. Justice Place 9 with the Texas Supreme Court, running unopposed from the Democratic Party is Julia Maldonado. Justice Place 6 of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals Democratic Party, running unopposed is Robert Johnson. Justice Place 3, Texas Second Court of Appeals from the Democratic Party. Running unopposed is Delonia Watson. Alrighty, folks, those are the numbers that we have right now with your Hood County elections primary update. Oh, we got a couple updates. David Euchre, if we had IFBs, that would have been in my ear. But since we have David behind, the voice of Granbury, we'll just take him live. Let's see if they're going to put, okay, we do have some good updates here. Okay, Hood County Republican Party for District Judge 355th Judicial District. Early voting numbers in so far has Brian Bufkin with 61% of the vote, 2,818 votes. Vincent Messina with 39% of the vote so far at 1837. And then, of course, Judge County Court at Law for the Hood County Republican Party. Early voting numbers in as of now have Richard Haddix at 58% and Shelley Fowler O'Toole coming in at 42%. And of course, these are just the earliest round of early voting numbers for Hood County. So make sure you stay with us live here on the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube channels. And if you are watching us there and you have some comments or questions, be sure to drop those down in the comment section and hopefully we can get to those for you. Alrighty, I think until the next coverage, we're coming back at 8:30 and we'll see you then. Thank you so much.
just have sound now, Mike.
Good evening and welcome back to Granbury Media. Thank you for joining us here on the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages. We do have more Hood County numbers coming in. In fact, I've been told that while they are trickling in right now, we will have an update to all of the Hood County races during this cut-in. I think we're going to get to the slides here in just a moment. There we go. We'll start out with County Judge. For the Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers that are in so far, Ron Massengill is in the lead with 2,251 votes, bringing him in at 48%. Mark Shackelford, just over 1,100 votes, coming in at 25%. Kelly Van Buren, 727 votes, coming in at 15%. And Mark Jackson coming in at 524 votes for a total of 11%. We've had a lot of folks ask us tonight about runoffs and how that looks. If in these races any candidate gets 50% plus one vote, then there is not a runoff. So we're going to keep a close look at these percentages here all night. Moving over to County Commissioner Precinct 2 for the Hood County Republican Party. Early voting numbers in so far have Nanette Samuelson with 684 votes in the lead at 54%. Ronald Cotton is with 591 votes, coming in at 46% right now. For the Hood County Republican Party, County Commissioner Precinct 4, early voting numbers in right now have Dave Eagle with 686 votes, coming in at 62%, followed by Zach Maxwell with 422 votes, coming in at 38%. For the Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, for the Hood County Republican Party, Jeff Kelly is in the lead with 697 votes, equating to 56%, and followed by Martin Castillo with 555 votes, coming in at 44%. For the Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, for the Hood County Republican Party, numbers right now show Stephen Barnett, this is a close one, 492 votes for 38%. Right behind him is Wayne Baker Jr. at 475 votes, coming in at 37%. Followed up with Michelle London with 332 votes, coming in at 25%. Moving over to the county clerk's race for the Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers right now show Katie Lang coming in at 60% with 2,823 votes. Behind her comes Michelle Carew at 20% with 953 votes. Aaron Ellis is coming in at third with 598 votes, garnering 13% of the vote. And Becky Swindle with 293 votes, coming in at 6% of the votes reported so far. For county chairman for the Hood County Republican Party, Steve Biggers is in the lead with 2,233 votes, equating to 55%, followed by David Fisher, coming in at 45% with 1,821 votes. The Hood County Republican Party's District Judge 355th Judicial District, early voting numbers show the incumbent Brian Bufkin right now leading at 61% with just over 2,800 votes, and Vincent Messina with 39% at just over 1,800 votes. For the Judge County Court at Law Hood County Republican Party, early numbers show Richard Haddix coming in at 58% with 2,729 votes, followed by Shelley Fowler O'Toole with just over 1,900 votes for 42%. And I think that was our last slide that we had. You know, it's interesting. We were talking. We actually have a live studio audience here tonight. Thank you to those who showed up. But we were talking about, you know, how it kind of seems like the numbers are trickling in a little bit slow. But if you think about it, that last person in line up in Lipan, let's say, at 7 o'clock, they've got to wait for them to get through. That's a 45-minute drive down here. You know, so it makes sense when we hear that these numbers are trickling in. We're going to see them more quickly from the closer voting centers today. So, but we will keep you updated. We will have you back at 9 p.m. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. We've got more numbers. So from the Republican Party for the state of Texas governor, we have Greg Abbott, clear lead right now, 69% of the vote with just over 196,000 votes. Alan B. West is coming in with 12% at 34,503 votes, followed by Don Huffines at 10% with 29,534 votes, and Rick Perry coming in with just over 9,000 votes to round out 3% of the reported numbers right now. For governor for the Hood County Republican Party early voting, Greg Abbott is in the lead at 65% with just over 3,100 votes. Alan B. West, 705 votes at 15%. Don Huffines, close behind Alan West, coming in at 12% with 565 votes, followed by Chad Prather at 3% with 151 votes. And for the lieutenant governor for the Texas Republican Party, Dan Patrick is in the far lead here, 78% of the votes right now counted so far, with 206,105 votes. Not even close behind is Trace Bradford with 6%, tied with Daniel Miller with 6%, and then Zach Vance down at 4% with just over 10,000 votes. So if we look at Hood County, how they are reporting that right now for lieutenant governor, kind of the same, it mimics the state if you look at it. Dan Patrick is coming in at 77% with just over 3,500 votes. Trace Bradford at 9%, Daniel Miller at 5%, and tied with Aaron Sorrells at 5% with 216 votes. Attorney General for Texas for the Republican Party, Ken Paxton in the lead right now with 115,000 votes, taking 43% of the votes counted right now. George P. Bush is coming in at second with just over 59,000, and right behind him is Eva Guzman with 20% with 55,000 votes. And finally, Louis Gohmert rounding that out at 15% with just over 40,000 votes. For Hood County Republican Party Attorney General, early voting numbers look like this. Ken Paxton is at 41% with 1,971 votes. George P. Bush, 24% with 1,156 votes, followed by Eva Guzman with just over 960 votes, and finally Louis Gohmert at 15% with 700 votes reported right now. Early voting for the comptroller for the Republican Party in Texas, Glenn Hager, clear lead in this one, 85% right now with 203,292 votes, followed by Mark Golaby at 15% with just under 37,000 votes. And if you look at the Hood County numbers with that for the comptroller, it's mimicking the state again. Glenn Hager with 83% of the vote right now, with just under 3,600 votes, followed by Mark Golaby at 17% with 728 votes. For commissioner, the Texas General Land Office Republican Party, early voting numbers right now show Don Buckingham in a clear lead, 45% of the vote with 102,043 votes, followed by Tim Wesley with 15% at just under 35,000 votes. John Spears has 12% at 27,411 votes. And finally, Don Minton is rounding it out at 10% at just over 23,000 votes. For the Agriculture Commissioner, Republican Party of Texas, Sid Miller, clear lead here also, 60% of the vote going to Sid Miller, 143,330 votes. James White is behind with 30% of the vote at 71,322 votes. And finally rounded out by Cary Council with 10% of the vote at 24,712. If you look at the Democratic Party's governor for the state of Texas, early voting numbers, this is a very clear lead. Beto O'Rourke is pulling in 93% of the vote at 148,533 votes right now, and then followed by Michael Cooper with just 4% reporting at 6,773 votes. And we're going to round this out with Lieutenant Governor for the Democratic Party of Texas. Early voting numbers right now has Mike Collier with a clear lead Just over 77,000 votes, garnering 52% of the vote right now. Michelle Beckley is coming in at 26% with just over 39,000 votes. And Carla Braley is rounding that out at 22% with 32,601 votes. And we thank you for joining us at this live update. We will be back at 9 o'clock with more local Hood County election coverage and state as well. And again, we thank you for joining us on the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages. And we invite you to send us a message or questions. Drop those down below. We'll see you live at 9 p.m. Good evening and welcome back to Granbury Media. I'm Maureen Griffin. You're joining us live from the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages. Thank you for joining us right now. So we want to give you an update on the numbers. Unfortunately, no new Hood County numbers as of right now, but we do have statewide numbers updated that we're going to go ahead and bring you to the slides. If we look at the early voting for the Republican Party for the gubernatorial candidate, Greg Abbott, clear lead here again, 69% of the votes, coming in at just over 196,000. Alan B. West is next with 12% of the votes, 34,503. Don Huffines coming in at 10% at 29,534. And Rick Perry, just over 9,000 votes, rounds that out with 3%. Again, these are state numbers because right now we do not have any new Hood County numbers since the last cut-in. For governor, Greg Abbott, 65%. I'm sorry, this is for the Hood County Republican Party for governor. Early voting, Greg Abbott, 3,100 votes at 65%. Alan West, 15% at 705. Don Huffines coming in at 12% with 565 votes. And Chad Prather rounding it out at 3% with 151 votes. For the state of Texas Republican Party Lieutenant Governor, early voting numbers so far, Dan Patrick, clear lead he's holding on to here. 78% of the votes counted so far, 206,105 votes. Coming in at a much distant 6%, we have Trace Bradford at slightly over 15,000 votes. And Daniel Miller also rounds that out at 6% with 15,012 votes. That's kind of interesting about what, a 9-vote difference there between the second and third, but far behind Dan Patrick in first place. And then finally, Zach Vance will round that out at 4% of the vote at just over 10,300 votes. For the Hood County Republican Party Lieutenant Governor, early voting numbers are in. Again, mimicking much like what the state numbers look like. Dan Patrick, just over 3,500 votes, taking 77% right now. Trace Bradford coming in at 9% with 433 votes. Daniel Miller has 216 votes. Actually, both Daniel Miller and Aaron Srells have 216 votes and are tied at 5%. Early voting for the Texas Republican Party Attorney General numbers look like this. Ken Paxton, 43%, 115,508 votes. George P. Bush coming in at second, 22% of the votes, 59,660. Not far behind Bush is Eva Guzman at 20% with 55,315 votes. And Louis Gohmert at 15%. With just over 40,000 votes right now. Hood County Republican Party Attorney General early voting numbers look like this. Ken Paxton coming in at 41%, clear lead there, 1,971 votes. George P. Bush, 24% at 1,156 votes. Eva Guzman coming in at 20% with 968 votes. And Louis Gohmert, 700 votes coming in at 15%. For the Texas Republican Party Comptroller early voting numbers, Glenn Hagar has a clear lead right now, 85%, just over 203,000 votes, followed by Mark Golaby, 15% at 36,934 votes. For the Hood County Republican Party Comptroller early voting numbers, mimic just much like the state. Again, 83% of the votes going to Glenn Hagar with just under 3,600 votes, followed by Mark Golaby, 17% at 728 votes. The Texas General Land Office Commissioner for the Republican Party, early voting numbers show Don Buckingham in the lead, 45%, just over 102,000 votes. Tim Wesley coming in with 34,827 votes, 15%. John Spears is at 12% with 27,411 votes, and rounding it out with Don Minton, 10% at 23,317 votes. For the Agricultural Commissioner for the state of Texas, Republican Party, early voting numbers show Sid Miller out there with a clear advantage, 60% of the vote, 143,330 votes right now. James White coming in second with 30% at just over 71,300 votes. And Cary Council brings it in at 10% with 24,712 votes. For the Texas Democratic Party governor early voting numbers, Beto O'Rourke continues with that strong lead, 93% of the votes, showing at 148,533 in early voting, followed by Michael Cooper at 4% with just over 6,700 votes. Hood County Democratic Party governor numbers early voting looks, again, just like the state. Beto O'Rourke has 228 votes with 94% cast so far, and Michael Cooper has 7 votes, showing 3%. For the state of Texas Lieutenant Governor Democratic Party, early voting numbers show Mike Collier with a 52% advantage, 77,384 votes. Michelle Beckley's coming in at 39,000 votes at 26%, and rounded out with Carla Braley, just over 32,000 votes at 22%. The Hood County Democratic Party Lieutenant Governor early voting numbers show Michael Collier coming in at 37% with 87 votes. Michelle Beckley just slightly behind Collier with 35% of the vote, having 84 votes. And then finally Carla Braley, 29% of those votes cast so far at 68 votes. The Texas Democratic Party Attorney General early voting numbers show Rochelle Mercedes Garza in the lead at 43%. She has over 195,850 votes right now. Joe Jaworski coming in at 22%, just over 100,550 votes, followed up by Lee Merritt at 17% with 76,400. And finally, Mike Fields comes in at 13% with 58,237 votes. For the Hood County Democratic Party Attorney General, early voting numbers right now show Rochelle Mercedes Garza with a lead at 41% with 96 votes. Joe Jaworski is coming in with 27% at 63 votes. Lee Merritt has 17% currently at 40 votes. And finally, Mike Fields has 26 votes, bringing him in at 11%. For the Texas Democratic Comptroller, early voting numbers are showing Janet Detting with 49% of the votes right now, coming in at just over 214,300 votes. Angel Luis Vega, 32% at 142,395 votes. And finally, Tim Mahoney is garnering 19% right now with 81,799 votes counted right now. For the Texas General Land Office Democratic Party Commissioner, these are early voting numbers. So Sandra Grass Martinez is coming in with 31% of the vote at 142,310. Jay Clayburg, 28% with 125,714. Ginny Sue is rounding out at 22%. And finally, Michael Lang is coming in at 19%. For the Texas Democratic Party Agricultural Commissioner, early voting numbers are showing Susan Hayes in the lead, a strong lead right now, in fact, at 83% with just over 275,800 votes, and Ed Ierson coming in with 76,921 votes to round out 17% of those counted so far. For the Texas Republican Party Railroad Commissioner, we have early voting numbers showing Wayne Christian in the lead, 46% going to Christian. Tom Slocum Jr. is coming in at 16% with just over 36,500. Sarah Stonger at 15% at just over 35,400. And finally, Dwayne Tipton showing at 11%. For the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals Republican Party, Justice Place 5, early voting numbers are showing Scott Walker at 58% and Clint Morgan at 42% with just over 91,400 votes. For the Texas Board of Education Republican Party, District 11, early voting shows Pat Hardy with a Hardy lead, 50% coming in at 1,922 votes. Josh Vitarbe at 22%, rounded out with Rebecca Garcia at 14%, and DC Caldwell coming in at 13% with 510 votes. For the Texas Board of Education Democratic Party, District 11, we have early voting numbers also. James Whitfield has 35% currently with 9,323 votes. DC Caldwell 1 is coming at 18%. And, you know, I apologize, folks. We should have started with Luis Miguel Cifuentes actually is in the lead with 47% of the votes at 12,570. So just had a little bit of a flip there, but again, that is for the Texas Board of Education Democratic Party with him coming in top. And let's see, what was the other updates we had? Oh, the city council meeting is still going on up at City Hall. Oh, live update from the crew in the back there, all our volunteers. The city council meeting is now over. In fact, I think we just saw Chuck Licata walk in. Hey, Chuck. You can thank Chuck Licata for all the live feeds you see up there with the city council tonight. And make sure that you continue to watch us on the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages. And we will be back with our next live update at 9:30. Thank you for joining us. Good evening and welcome back to Granbury Media, the City of Granbury's public television station. I'm Maureen Griffin. Thank you for joining us this evening with the Hood County primary early numbers coming in already. We've updated you throughout the evening. This latest update, we do have new Hood County numbers for you, so we'll go ahead and get to those slides. For County Judge, the Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers are showing Ron Massengill with 47% of the votes currently at just over 3,000. Mark Shackelford is coming in at 26%. Kelly Van Buren is coming in with 16% of the vote, and Mark Jackson at 11% with 719 votes. Again, these are new but all early Hood County numbers. Hood County Republican Party County Commissioner Precinct 2 early voting numbers show Nanette Samuelson with a lead over the incumbent Ronald Cotton. Samuelson is at 53% with 770 votes, and Cotton has 47% with 680 votes. Moving on to County Commissioner Precinct 4 for the Hood County Republican Party. New early voting numbers show Dave Eagle with 61% of the votes right now, coming in with 765 votes, and Zach Maxwell, 39% with 481 votes. For the county, all of these numbers are early voting numbers. We do not have voting center numbers in yet, so this is all overall early voting numbers. For the Hood County Republican Party Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, early voting shows Jeff Kelly at 55% with 775 votes, and Martin Castillo at 45% with 641 votes currently. The Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers show Stephen Barnett with 40% of the vote, 812 votes. Wayne Baker Jr., 34% with 688 votes, and Michelle London coming in with 27% of the votes with 543 votes currently. For County Clerk, the incumbent Katie Lang is 61% of the votes right now in early voting, just over 3,900 votes. Michelle Carew coming in at 20% with 1,253 votes, followed up by Aaron Ellis at 13% and Becky Swindle at 6%. For County Chairman for the Hood County Republican Party, the new early voting numbers show Steve Biggers in the lead with 54%, and followed by David Fisher at 46% with just over 2,500 votes. For the District Judge 355th Judicial District, the Hood County Republican Party, current early voting numbers show Brian Buffkin with 60% of the vote right now, 3,850 votes, followed by Vincent Messina with 40% at 2,567 votes. For the Judge County Court at Law, Hood County Republican Party, early voting shows Richard Haddix at 58% with just over 3,700 votes, followed by Shelley Fowler O'Toole with 2,712 votes coming in at 42%. And now we're going to move on to statewide numbers that we have an update for you. We'll move on over to those slides. For the Republican Party, Texas Governor, early voting numbers show Greg Abbott with a lead at 69%, still holding that strong lead, just over 196,000 votes. Alan B. West comes in at 12%, followed by Don Huffines at 10% and Rick Perry at 3%. State numbers looking at Lieutenant Governor, Republican Party, early voting, Dan Patrick still has that very strong lead also at 78%, just over 206,000 votes. Tracy Bradford is coming in at 6%, tied with Daniel Miller also at 6%, and following up with Zach Vance at 4%. Early voting numbers for the Attorney General Texas Republican Party. Ken Paxton is coming in at 43% with 115,508 votes, followed by George P. Bush at 22%. 59,660 votes. Eva Guzman, not far behind at 20% with 55,315 votes. And finally, Louis Gomert at 15% of the votes right now, just over 40,000 votes. And for Texas Republican Party Comptroller, early voting numbers are showing Glenn Hagar still holding strong with that lead at 85% with just over 203,000 votes, followed by Mark Goloby at 36,934 votes, rounding that out at 15%. For the Texas General Land Office's Commissioner Republican Party, early voting numbers showed Don Buckingham in the lead, 45% of the votes at 102,043, followed by Tim Wesley at 15%, John Spears close behind that at 12%, and then Don Minton at 10%. For the Texas Republican Party Agricultural Commissioner, early voting numbers show Sid Miller with a very clear lead, 60% of the votes right now reporting with 143,330 votes. James White coming in at 30%, followed by Kerry Council at 10%. For the Texas Democratic Party Governor early voting numbers, Beto O'Rourke holding on to his lead, 92% of the votes currently at 538,797, followed by Joy Diaz at 3%. For the Texas Democratic Party Lieutenant Governor, early votings show Mike Collier in the lead at 44%. Collier has just over 240,400 votes, followed by Michelle Beckley, 29% of the votes at 155,427, and Carla Braley, 27% at 145,427. For Attorney General, early voting numbers for the Texas Democratic Party, Rochelle Mercedes Garza coming in at 42% with just over 230,000 votes, followed by Joe Jaworski at 22%, Lee Merritt at 18%, and Mike Fields at 13%. For the Texas Democratic Party Comptroller candidates, early voting numbers are showing Janet Detting in the lead at 47%. Janet currently has just over 251,000 votes. Angel Luis Vega coming in at 33%, and Tim Mahoney coming in at 19%. For the Texas General Land Office Commissioner, the Democratic Party candidates show, Sandergris Martinez coming in at 31%. Not far behind is Jay Clayburgh at 28% with 148,014 votes. Ginny Sue coming in at 21%, and Michael Lang following up close by there with 20% of the votes at just over 106,000 votes. And then finally, also for the Texas Democratic Party Agricultural Commissioner, early voting numbers show Susan Hayes with a very clear lead here, 83%, 436,943 votes, followed by Ed Ireson with 17% of the votes currently, just over 92,000. All right, for Railroad Commissioner, we're looking at the Texas Republican Party early voting numbers right now. Wayne Christian is at 46%, followed by Tom Slocum Jr. at 16%, Sarah Stonger at 15%, and Dwayne Tipton coming in at 11%. We're not seeing much movement from these state numbers, just kind of a stronger, follow-up to the base that we're already seeing. For Texas Supreme Court Republican Party, Justice Place 9, early voting numbers are showing David Schneck at 50. Well, I think we might have a little bit of a transposition there of numbers or whatnot. So we'll go ahead and try to get that slide updated because it looks like the popular vote is larger than the percentage. Moving on to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, Justice Place 5, Republican Party. Scott Walker with a clear lead here, 58% of the votes at 126,426, followed by Clint Morgan at 42% of the votes. For the Texas Board of Education Republican Party candidates, District 11, Pat Hardy is in the lead with 50% of the votes currently, followed by Joshua Tarbe at 23%, Rebecca Garcia at 14%, and DC Caldwell rounding it out at 13%. For the Texas Board of Education Democratic Party District 11, candidates' early voting numbers show Luis Miguel Cifuentes at 47% of the votes with 13,227, followed by James Whitfield with 35%, and DC Caldwell won with 18%. And we want to thank y'all for joining us this evening. I know those of us here local in Hood County, we're waiting for those numbers to come in. And, you know, with the internet outage earlier today, nice, good, strong, hearty lines at the voting centers. I know that I went out to the Baptist Church on 51 at 4:30, and it took me until about 5:40 to get through, but that's okay. That means people are out voting and they're engaged. So I'm sure that we had some folks still in line at 7 o'clock when it was time to close those polls down. So it's just going to take a little bit while for us to get those numbers tonight. But make sure that you stay with us, or at least come back at 10 p.m. Follow the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages, where we will have live Hood County election coverage returns. Thank you for joining us.
synced with your video.
It is synced? Yay! Because sometimes we have... Good evening and welcome back to Granbury Media. I'm Maureen Griffin and I am joined by our host of volunteers behind me, all of those who serve on the Granbury Media Board of Directors. We're going to go ahead and let folks know every one of the Hood County numbers that we have right now, it's all early voting numbers. We do not have any voting numbers from today yet from Hood County, so when we do have updates, it's just updates of early voting numbers, not any election day numbers for Hood County as of yet. But it was a busy day today, lots of folks out there voting, so hopefully we'll start to see those trickle in soon. We'll go ahead and look what we do have for early voting. For the Hood County Republican Party, County Judge Ron Massengill is still in the lead at 46% with just over 3,600 votes counted so far. Mark Shackelford's coming in at 27%, rounded out with Kelly Van Buren at 16%, and Mark Jackson coming in with 11% of the early voting votes right now. Moving over to Hood County Republican Party, County Commissioner for Precinct 2, early voting. Nanette Samuelson is in the lead over incumbent Ronald Cotton. Samuelson has 52% of the votes with 981, and Cotton is currently with 907 votes. For County Commissioner Precinct 4, the Hood County Republican Party, early voting numbers show Dave Eagle with 62% of the votes, and Zach Maxwell coming in at 38%. For Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, Hood County Republican Party, early voting shows Jeff Kelly with 55%, just over 1,000 votes reported, and Martin Castillo at 45% with 822 votes. Justice of the Peace Precinct 3 for the Hood County Republican Party, early voting shows Stephen Barnett at 40% over Wayne Baker with 34% of the votes, and Michelle London with 26% of the votes with 583 votes. Again, all of these Hood County numbers are early voting numbers. We do not have any of the voting numbers for today yet. So County Clerk, it looks like Katie Lang is at 61% with 4,800 votes, followed by Michelle Carew with 1,471 votes coming in at 29%. Aaron Ellis has 14% with early voting numbers right now, and Becky Swindle with 7%. For the county chairman for the Hood County Republican Party, Steve Biggers shows 54% of the votes with 3,169, followed by David Fisher at 46% with 3,658. I do see a discrepancy in numbers and percentages there, so we will look at getting that updated shortly, hopefully. Alrighty, and just want to remind folks that today, major internet outage, lots of businesses affected. Hopefully we didn't get any reports of the voting centers affected, so that's good. But who knows? Maybe it has a little bit to do with the numbers coming in at a little bit slower pace. Hopefully not, but a lot of folks out voting today in addition to early voting. So we are still waiting on those Hood County numbers from today's voting. We'll move on over to the state numbers that we have. Looks like we have 5% now of the precincts reporting. The Texas Republican Party governor candidates shows Greg Abbott at 69% with 196,027 votes, followed by Alan West at 12%, Don Huffines coming in at 10%, and rounded out with Rick Perry at 3%. And again, this is 5% of the precincts reporting for Texas Republican Party Lieutenant Governor. Dan Patrick maintains that clear lead at 78% with 206,105 votes, followed by Tracy Bradford and Daniel Miller at 6%, and Zach Vance at 4%. For Attorney General for the Texas Republican Party, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Ken Paxton holds a steady lead at 43% with 115,508 votes. George P. Bush with 59,660 votes at 22%. Right behind him comes Eva Guzman at 20%, and Louis Gomert comes in at 15% with just over 40,000 votes. And for the Texas Republican Party comptroller, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Glenn Hagar, steady lead at 85% with 203,292 votes, followed by Mark Golby at 15% of the votes with 36,934. For the Texas General Land Office Commissioner, Republican Party, we have 5% of the precincts reporting. Don Buckingham is in a clear lead right now with 45% of those votes, just over 102,000 votes, followed by Tim Wesley at 15%, John Spears at 12%, and Don W. Minton at 10%. For the Republican Party Agricultural Commissioner, 5% of the precincts are reporting right now. Sid Miller holds strong lead at 60% with 143,330 votes, followed by James White at 30% and Kerry Council at 10%. For the Democratic Party, Texas Governor, 5% of the precincts reporting, 92% lead, Beto O'Rourke, 537,112 votes, followed by Michael Cooper with 3% at 16,649. For the Democratic Party of Texas Lieutenant Governor, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Mike Collier holds his lead. He's at 44% with 244,289 votes. It's getting late. My tongue's getting tied. I apologize, folks. Michelle Beckley with 29% and Carla Braley at 27%. For the Texas Democratic Party Attorney General, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Rochelle Mercedes Garza has a lead with 42%. Joe Jaworski is coming in at 22%. Lee Merritt comes in at 18%, and Mike Fields rounds it out at 13%. For the Texas Democratic Party comptroller, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Janet Dudding is in the lead. 255,601 votes puts Dudding at 47%. Angel Luis Vega coming in at 34% of the votes, and Tim Mahoney with 19% of the votes. For the Democratic Party Texas General Land Office Commissioner, again, 5% of the precincts reporting, Sandras Martinez has 31%. This is a pretty close race. 160,743 votes. Jay Clayburgh just slightly behind that with 148,000 votes at 28%. Jenny Sue at 21%, and Michael Lang at 20%. For the Texas Democratic Party Agricultural Commissioner, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Susan Hayes has a strong lead, 83%, over Ed Ierson with 17%. For the Texas Republican Party Railroad Commissioner, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Wayne Christian has 46% of the votes right now. Tom Slocum Jr. at 16%. Right behind Slocum Jr. is Sarah Stonger at 15%, followed by Dwayne Tipton at 11%. And for the Texas Supreme Court Republican Party Justice Place 9, with 5% of the precincts reporting, Evan Young has 55% of the votes at just over 121,200 votes, and David Schneck at 45% with just over 98,700 votes. For the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals Republican Party, Justice Place 5, again, 5% of the precincts reporting, shows Scott Walker with a lead of 58% over Clint Morgan at 42%. For the Texas Board of Education Republican Party candidates, District 11, with 5% precincts reporting, Pat Hardy is showing 50%, followed by Joshua Tarbe at 23%, Rebecca Garcia 14%, and D.C. Caldwell at 13% of the votes right now. For the Democratic Party, that side of the Texas Board of Education for District 11, Luis Miguel Cifuentes is at 47%, James Whitfield at 35%, and D.C. Caldwell at 18%. And if you're wondering, when we're looking at these numbers, folks, I know a lot of people are asking, okay, what constitutes a runoff? What will cause a runoff? We were talking about this earlier today. For somebody to come out a clear winner for their party's ticket tonight, they need to have 50% of the vote plus one vote. So if you're seeing numbers in there like 48%, 22% and whatnot, unless we see a shift in those numbers moving forward, it looks like we're going to have several runoff races. So both at the county and, both at the statewide level. We're going to move now to the unopposed. For the Hood County Democratic Party, County Commissioner Precinct 4, unopposed is Grant Wood. For the Hood County Republican Party District Clerk, running unopposed is Tona Trumbull Hitt. For Hood County Democratic Party County Clerk, running unopposed is Harold Granick. For the Hood County Republican Party County Treasurer, running unopposed is Leanne McCoy. For County Chairman, running unopposed with the Hood County Democratic Party is Adrian Martin. And Congressman for the U.S. District 25th Republican Party is running unopposed, Roger Williams. State Senator Brian Birdwell for the Texas District of 22 Republican Party, running unopposed. And State Representative Texas District 59 for the Republican Party, running unopposed, is Shelby Slauson. Well, we know that you are as anxious as we are for the updated Hood County numbers, so hopefully we will have something soon. It's at 10:11, and our next cut-in will be at 10:30, and hopefully we will have some more local Hood County updated numbers from today's voting. Make sure you tune in at 10:30. We'll see you then. Good evening and welcome back to Granbury Media here live on the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube pages. So, one thing we know for certain, numbers are coming in slow tonight. Okay, I thought the whole crew behind me was going to ask, how slow
are they?
We got to have fun here, folks. Stay awake. No, they are coming in slow. You know, I spoke earlier about, I headed out to go vote at 4:30. It took about a good hour and 20 minutes up at the Baptist Church on 51. Not complaining about that. All of the volunteers were fantastic. You know, everybody in line was very kind to each other. No craziness. There was just a lot of us out there wanting to vote today on Election Day. So that's a good thing. That means that people are engaged and wanting to be part of the process. Now, how that translates tonight is that it's slower to get us the numbers. So the updates we have had from Hood County, you're seeing those as early voting numbers. We still have yet to get a majority of the voting numbers from tonight. So I am going to now toss it on over to David Euchre. He has been on the phone tonight with some county officials and actually has an update for us on the voting process in Hood County tonight. David, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Maureen. Yeah, we had the opportunity to, in fact, I went right to the source, went to Hood County Judge Ron Massengill. And the situation is right now that we do have the early voting numbers in, but the other voters, there's 9 boxes out there, and 5 are in, and 4 are still not in at 10:30 this evening on this election night. So we do not have the final results and don't know exactly when they were going to be. And like Maureen has been talking about all night long, don't know if it was because of the spectrum outage today or what is causing this. Been doing this a long time. We were talking about this earlier, and I remember being through at 9:15 on an election night. So there's been a glitch in the system somewhere, but that is what's going on. So we're bringing it to you as we get them. Also, it looks as if the district judge race is going to be complete, and it looks like that Brian Buffkin will retain that position of district judge here in our area. So that's what we've got. We got that one basically for sure, and the update from the county that we're having some problems getting all of the numbers in. And one of those boxes is the Pecan Plantation box. That's the big one. That's almost seems like it's almost as big at times as early voting, not quite, but it is the big one. That's another one that's not in yet. That might make a difference because I noticed, Maureen, there was like a 52 to 48% percentage in one of our local races, so that might have a bearing on that. So, Maureen, that's what we've got. We've talked to the folks, and we're not holding out on you folks. I wish we weren't. I should be at the house right now, as we all should be. But, Maureen, back to you to take a look at the races and how they stand right now.
Thanks, David. Appreciate the update, and thanks for getting on the phone with Judge Massengill and getting straight to the source. So we are going to go straight to the source. We're going to put those slides up for y'all, and we will look at the Hood County numbers first, I believe. All right, for the Hood County Republican Party, this is for County Judge early voting numbers again. Ron Massengill at 46%, Mark Shackelford at 27%, followed up with Kelly Van Buren at 16%, and Mark Jackson at 11%. Again, these are early voting numbers for Hood County. For Hood County Republican Party, County Commissioner Precinct number 2. Early voting numbers show Nanette Samuelson at 52% with 981 votes over the incumbent Ron Cotton with 907 votes. Cotton is at 48%. Early voting for County Commissioner Precinct 4, Hood County Republican Party. Dave Eagle coming in with 921 votes, puts him at 62%. Zach Maxwell with 567 votes with 38%. For the Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, Hood County Republican Party, Jeff Kelly is ahead, 55%, over Martin Castillo, 45% with 822 votes. Hood County Republican Party Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, early voting, Stephen Barnett, 40% with 906 votes. Wayne Baker Jr. has 766 votes, putting him at 34%, and Michelle London coming in at 26%. So, you know, again, these are early voting numbers, and like Euchre said earlier, we've got 5 of the 9 boxes in, so we're still waiting for some votes here, folks. County Clerk, Hood County Republican Party. Early voting numbers show Katie Lang still ahead at 61% with 4,800 votes. Michelle Carew behind her at 19% with just over 1,400 votes. Aaron Ellis at 14% and Becky Swindle at 7%. For the Hood County Republican Party's county chairman, early voting numbers show Steve Biggers still in the lead, 54%, over David Fisher at 46%. And for the Hood County Republican Party District Judge, 355th Judicial District, David Euchre just told us, essentially, Brian Bufkin will retain this, coming at 61% over Vincent Messina, who received 3,087 votes at 39%. The Hood County Republican Party's Judge County Court at Law shows Richard Haddix at 58% over Shelley Fowler O'Toole at 42%. Alrighty, and that is our update for Hood County, and I think we're going to go next to statewide numbers. Yes, we are. Okay, so we're going to look at the Republican Party gubernatorial candidates. We do have an update now with 32% of the precincts reporting. That's showing Governor Greg Abbott with 68% of the vote, Alan B. West coming in at 12%, Don Huffines at 11%, and Chad Prather at 4%. So we're seeing a good lift in the percentage of precincts reporting statewide. This is nice to see. For the Republican Party Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, 75% at over 908,000 votes. Daniel Miller is coming in at 10%. Tracy Bradford has 6% of the votes right now, and Zach Vance with 4%. For the Republican Party Attorney General, 32% of the precincts reporting. Ken Paxton holds that steady lead, just over 517,000 votes with 43%. George P. Bush is at 22%. Eva Guzman is at 20%, and Louis Gomart at 16%. Moving over to the Democratic Party gubernatorial candidates, with 34% of the precincts reporting, Beto O'Rourke holds that steady lead at 92%. O'Rourke has over 579,000 votes over Michael Cooper at 3% with just over 19,000 votes. For the Democratic Party's lieutenant governor ticket, 34% of the precincts are reporting. Michael Collier comes in at 44% with 262,494 votes. Michelle Beckley comes in at 29%, and Carla Braley with 27%. Again, 34% of those precincts reporting. For somebody to avoid a runoff, they're going to need to be at 50% plus one vote. So it looks like we will have a couple of runoffs here, definitely statewide. Attorney General for the Democratic Party, 34% precincts reporting. Rochelle Mercedes Garza is at 43%. Joe Jaworski at 22%. Lee Merritt is coming in at 18%, and Mike Fields rounds it out at 13%. All righty, well, we appreciate everybody who is hanging in here with us. I know a lot of us Hood Countyans are very anxious to get the updated numbers, as are we. I want to say thank you again to all of the Granbury Media volunteers here that are working diligently in between the updates to bring you the latest numbers, and to my colleague David Euchre, who is on the phone with everybody he can to get the update on what's coming up next. So we will see you again at 11 p.m. and hopefully have even more local Hood County coverage. Thank you for joining us. Evening and welcome back to Granbury Media. This is the City of Granbury's Facebook and YouTube page where we are live with Hood County primary election results. And we do have, drum roll please, finally, our volunteers back, they are literally drum rolling. We do have the final numbers for the local races in, and we'll go ahead and go to those slides here. Looks like we're gonna have 2 runoffs also. Okay, so we're going to start with County Judge with 9 out of the 9 voting centers reported. Ron Massengill coming in with 45% of the votes, 4,793, followed by Mark Shackelford, 28%, 2,968 votes. Kelly Van Buren coming in with 17%, and Mark Jackson rounding that out at 10% of the votes. Okay, for the Hood County Republican Party, County Commissioners Precinct 2, again, with 9 of the 9 voting centers reporting, Nanette Samuelson over incumbent Ron Cotton. Now, what's interesting about this, Samuelson draws no Democratic opponent in the general election, so Nanette Samuelson will actually be the first female county commissioner. She is ahead with 9 out of 9 reporting, 54% to 46%. For the Hood County Republican Party, County Commissioners Precinct 4, Dave Eagle maintains his lead with 61% of the votes, 1,346 over Zach Maxwell, 39% of the votes of 851. The Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 for the Hood County Republican Party, Jeff Kelly comes in with 60% of the votes, 1,819 over Martin Castillo's 40%, 1,217 votes. And for Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, it looks like we're going to have a runoff here also. For the Hood County Republican Party, Stephen Barnett, 41%, Wayne Baker Jr. coming in at 34%, and Michelle London at 26% with 720 votes. And for those of you who are wondering when that runoff will be, it will actually be May 24th. Okay, for the Hood County Republican Party County Clerk, Katie Lang maintains her 61% that we've seen for a while with 6,500 votes, followed by Michelle Carew with 18%, just over 1,800 votes, Aaron Ellis at 14%, and Becky Swindle at 7%. For the Hood County Republican Party's County Chairman, Steve Biggers maintains his lead at 54% with exactly 4,900 votes over David Fisher's 46% with 4,233 votes. Okay, moving over to the District Judge, 355th Judicial District. David Euchre told us about this a while ago. It is now official with 9 out of the 9 voting centers reporting. Hood County Republican Party, Brian Buffkin maintains his position at 61% over Vincent Messina with 39% of the vote. And for the Hood County Republican Party's Judge County Court at Law, Richard Haddix maintained his lead at 57% over Shelley Fowler O'Toole with 43% of the votes. And we're going to go, we'll talk about those runoffs again. So that runoff election will be May 24th, and the first one is for the county judge position. Again, you can see there. And then second, for the Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, we will have a runoff vote on May 24th as well. And I think we're going to go live over to the statewide results here in just a moment. Alrighty, looking at the Republican parties, Texas governor with 48% of the precincts reporting. Greg Abbott maintains his lead of 68% with just over 923,000 votes. Alan West coming in at 12%, Don Huffines at 11%, and Chad Prather at 4%. Republican Party Lieutenant Governor, again with 48% of the precincts reporting. Dan Patrick, strong lead, 78%, over 1 million votes now. Daniel Miller coming in at 7%, Tracy Bradford at 6%, and Aaron Sorrells at 4%. For the Republican Party Attorney General, with 48% of the precincts reporting, Ken Paxton at 43%, just over 565,000 votes. George P. Bush at 22%, Eva Guzman at 19%, and Louis Gomart at 16%. And for the Agricultural Commissioner for the Texas Republican Party, again, 48% of the precincts reporting, Sid Miller, who is our neighbor over in Stephenville, he's coming in at 59%, James White at 31%, and Kerry Council at 10%. And for the Democratic Party for the state of Texas, the governor, 48% of the precincts reporting, Beto O'Rourke, strong lead, 92% of the votes over Joy Diaz, coming in at 3%. For the Democratic Party Texas Lieutenant Governor, Mike Collier, 44% with just over 277,000 votes. Michelle Beckley's coming in at 29%, and Carla Braley rounds it out with 27% of the votes. For the Democratic Party's Attorney General candidates, Rochelle Mercedes Garza is in the lead currently with 43% of the votes, followed by Joe Jaworski at 21%, Lee Merritt at 18%, and Mike Fields at 13%. And finally, the Texas Democratic Party Agricultural Commissioner, Susan Hayes is in the lead, strong lead here, 83% with 524,000 votes over Ed Ireson's 17%. And we want to thank everybody who has stayed with us until we can still at least say good evening, 11:07 p.m. here. We know it was a long evening to get those Hood County results, but, you know, again, whether it was the internet, whether it was a lot of people out there voting today, exercising their rights to vote, or other things, we finally got the votes tallied. They're in and they're official. We've got 2 races going to runoff on May 24th. And we thank everybody for joining us tonight. On behalf of all of the crew here, all of the volunteers with Granbury Media and the City of Granbury, we're signing off for Granbury Media. I'm Maureen Griffin. Thank you for joining us, and have a good evening.